Winter cover on, and actually it has an upper entrance already. So what I would do is I'd actually turn it over like that. So they have an upper entrance. I'd put this on top, and then what I'd do then is pour my sugar. You know, I would spritzer this a little bit, then I would pour my sugar on top. And then you have your choice of either putting a quilt box and a moisture board, or some guys do just that and your lid. And that's one way to do a winter setup. The way I do it is I actually have these. It's just my insurance policy. This is pretty much how my hives are set up. And I'm at like 95% over winter rate. You know, 20 or so hives, I'm about 90%. So, but no matter what I do, if my mites are not under control, chances are almost zero that you're going to overwinter. So, like during the winter, then, like when I'm checking my bees, what I do is I'll come up and I look in here, and that's as far as my inspection goes. Is I'll just look in here and I'll see where my sugar is. And if you see this particular look, if you look at this screen, look at the distance between down there to the screen. It's a little bit large, so that if the bees are kind of lethargic and they really can't get up there, it's hard for them to get there. So if they need to build a bridge, you know, you'll see this burr comb here that will just go on down. But like I said, sometimes they'll make some really cool photo-worthy pictures or designs of comb. And when I'm getting ready to put my sugar in, I just take my hive tool and I scrape it off the top. Everything underneath stays. I take out that burr comb, and then I just pour my sugar in.
Now, if you've done the mountain camp, then they don't have to crawl up.
Well, they do, but they'll crawl up through the hole. But then they're all over. You don't have to worry about it as much. If you do just the mountain camp, you don't need to screen at all.
Okay.
You just need you could have eliminated this bottom part and just have just the shim, and then that's all you need to do.
Okay. So,
like I said, some people will take, if you're out of room, you can put of course that doesn't fit, but you could put that in there, and that would be your filler strip. But I would try to pack this in there as tight as I can. Here's a follower board, actually a real one, and then that would come in over here, and then I've got all my bees squished in there. But I would fill this, just for why not, I would fill that with sugar, just dry sugar.
And it'd be moisture absorber
moisture
as well.
Control, it's a way for emergency feed. You know, it's just taking care of everything. Any other questions at all?
Picture's worth 1,000 words.
Yeah.
So I do just have one question. So you're using this for your sticky board. So I did a couple sticky boards, but I was just using paper. Like I have some really stiff paper I was shoving in there. But are these are thick enough to take up all the space in the?
Yeah. So
I'm just worried about like.
Yeah, I mean, mine are sitting.
Chilly, right?
Mine are sitting, and they're like that, and there's air can get in there.
Okay. I mean, we're not worried about it getting cold.
When I do set it up, usually if you buy it from Stedman's, their bottom boards, they actually have two sizes. So on the same board.
Right.
So if you put the board in one way, it's got a thin opening. You flip it over, it's got a thicker opening. So I always aim for the thinner one. Yeah. So it's a snugger fit.
Okay.
You know,
but a little bit of air is okay.
Yeah. So, the thing is, if I'm talking about for Washington,
right? Sure.
Kitsap Peninsula. Okay. This could be totally different thing. Oh, here's one right here. This could be totally different for, if you're up in Minnesota. But you can see that's going to be pretty thin, and then you put your sign in there. That's pretty snug.
Okay.
Yep. That's how all mine are set up, you know, so this will be on there. That's about how. And if you find them now, there's actually some political signs out there that are white on the back. Those are worth a stop. And to pick up the trash that's out there.
Hey, the election's over.
Yeah, the election's over, because I tell you what, don't find a red one. This is what not to do.
I was using manila folders, you know, just file folders. And this year, the bees are just destroying it.
Yeah, that's
like
what I don't like.
they've never done that. And so now I have to go, I gotta go find signs.
Yeah, yeah. So if you see them, it's worth a stop and picking them up, and just get out of the car like you have confidence in that you're there to pick them up, and nobody's going to say anything. So anyway, these are great, but yeah, don't get red.
Yeah, that's a good one. Well, when you're using your vaporizing tool that you put in the hive, it's hot.
Yep.
So you can't let it touch that sign. Shoot it
No,
up.
no, but so what? So if I'm vaporizing here, my one's going to go in up here.
Yeah.
Okay. But a lot of times what I'll do during the summer, well, I've gone to the more commercial vaporizers, so I have a hole in the back. And I'm just going, so if you look at some of these, they have golf tees sticking out of them. We take the golf tee out and we stick it in here. But what you can do though is if you want to you can actually leave it the other way around where you have this board doesn't have the dual opening, but leave it onto the thicker side. So if you were to take off this piece of wood right here, and just imagine if it was like that, now you can put your political sign in there, remove it, and then you can put your vaporizer wand in through that way. I like to set it backwards. My vaporizer goes in back here, and I'm not into the working end of the hive. But to make sure you clog up all of your holes when you vaporize, you want all that gas to stay inside. So you put paper towels, shove it in all the holes. Put your vaporizer in, vaporize for 5 minutes before it to vaporize, and then let it sit for 5 to 10 minutes and let it cool down, let the crystals settle in before you take all the paper towels and everything off. So the more hives you get, if you're going to get a lot of hives, get one of the more, the more better vaporizers. I can do all these hives in about an hour by myself. Okay, with the wand, buy 2 wands. And then I also have 2 wands, and I do a hopscotch, and that works. So every 5 minutes I'm doing a hive. So you start one, as soon as that one gets done, start the next one, and I just carry my battery down the line, and I can do, so that you just, every 5 minutes, I set my timer for 5 minutes, every 5 minutes I'm doing something.
Right.
And then you can go pretty quick. But otherwise you're waiting full 10 minutes, and then you pull it out, and then you actually it'd be better with 3 wands, then you can have one tooling. But for 50,
and just put it in right. It's already measured.
Yeah.
Right, and it's on the next hive. Right?
Yeah.
And I just.
Yeah, and make sure you wear your protective equipment,
the
respirator.
To be that quick.
It's got to be the acid vapor, the yellow label on it, and try to be. A lot of people light a smoker, set it on top of a hive. You know which way the wind's blowing, and you want to stay away from that. It's really, really bad for your lungs. I mean, really bad. I've gotten hit a couple times, and you know it. I mean, barely a whiff, and I'm like, ooh, I'm not doing that again.
And it doesn't kill the bees, though.
It does not kill the bees.
It's crazy.
They have lungs too.
Not like ours. That's where you need to study the anatomy of a bee. If you put a bee's head underwater, will it die? Will it drown? Yeah. Bees don't have lungs, and they basically breathe through their abdomen.
Oh.
So you can stick a bee's head underwater, and he won't drown. She won't drown, because they breathe through their abdomen. So they use, I think it's called sphericals. I don't. Is that right? So they basically don't have lungs, but they breathe totally different. They have totally different lungs than humans do. So the oxalic acid does not hurt the bees at all. There's some studies that they're suggesting that it may hurt some of the very, very young larvae if you treat like every single day. But there's been, people have done studies where they've treated every single day for like 2 or 3 months and saw no problems. So just do it by the label, which there is no label. But make sure you use it the right amount that people, I think it's 2 grams per hive or something like that. I got a measuring scoop. I can't remember exactly what it is. But follow the rules. Use your right oxalic acid. The wood bleach. Leave it in there. Probably the most important thing is to seal up the hives so that all that gas can't get out. And that's really important. You want it to come in there and you want it to vaporize and then settle in on everything. And time of day to me really doesn't matter. It's more the temperature that matters. You don't want it to be too cold because then the bees are in a tight cluster. And you're only going to treat the outside cluster. And generally the mites are not going to be on the outside cluster. They're going to be in there where the brood is going to be. And the young nurse bees, that's where they're going to be. They're not on the outside. So if you treat on a very cold day, you basically just did nothing. So you want them, you want to see a day where they're coming and going and they're having a good old time. That's the day you want to treat. But there's,
what temperature is that usually?
Around here, I have bees flying in the 50s, low 50s, sometimes upper 40s. But the warmer the day, the better. There's also, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. And it's better to do something than nothing. But try to look at the calendar and say, I'm sorry, but I can't go to your wedding today because I got to treat my bees. I mean, you got to decide what's more important.
Bees, of course.
It's bees, of course. Yeah.
So can I ask a quick question about that the winter vaporizing? So we've got the hive set up. We're not going to change anything, which means the entrance reducer's in there.
Yep.
When I've done it before, I took that out so I could get the
that's
wand
fine.
in exactly. But in the winter, can we just shove it in the entrance and?
However you can get it in there. You may have to take your entrance reducer out to get your vaporizer wand in there.
Okay.
And
that's okay.
Then that's okay. And then when you're done, put the entrance reducer back. For that little bit.
Okay.
Don't worry about it. I'm just talking about permanent. Don't say, well, you know what? It's a sunny day today. I'm going to take the entrance reducer out, and you leave it out for a couple days. And then a couple days, oh, it's going to be cold. I'm going to bundle them all up. It's just best to leave them. Our winters don't get that bad here. Just like these hot spells. I've done absolutely nothing extra to my bees. We've done nothing extra to these bees. And I don't think we lost anybody. I didn't lose a single queen in any of those heat waves. A lot of people panicked because the bees shut down. And suddenly everybody's, oh, I need a queen, my queen's dead. Hold on. She just shut down. She's doing what she's supposed to do. She shut down and stopped laying for a few weeks or a couple days. And then you go back in there, I got no eggs. And you just got to think about it. Always give them a little extra time. It's like I went in my hives the other day and I'm like, wow, there's not many eggs. And I remembered I treated with formic acid. Formic acid will kill all the young brood and some of the eggs. And then she probably said, what the heck is going on? And shut down. And I just really looked and looked and looked. And, oh yeah, there she is, and there's a few eggs. I'm fine. So don't panic. Give them a little extra time. I probably lose the people that buy a lot of queens from me. I would say half the calls I get, I talk out of queens. And then they call me back a week later and go, you know what? I got a laying queen. If you would have introduced my queen that you spent, $40 on, she would have been dead. Because that virgin that was in that hive would have killed, or that non-laying queen at the moment would have just killed this young queen. So, okay, well, good.
I only have a few hives, so I don't have to do a big thing like you do. But I take a piece of sheet metal. My hive sits just like this. I slide the sheet metal in to cover the screen.
Yeah.
Then I can put my wand in there.
Sure.
And it doesn't burn anything.
Yeah.
Then I cover the entrance when it's heating up. That works okay?
As long as you keep the gas in there. Just as long as you keep the vapors in, I don't care how you do it.
And then the sheet metal, I usually spray some stuff on there, and then I leave that in there for 3 or 4 days, and then pull out and look how many mites I got.
That works. Okay. Problem with the sheet metal up on top of here, you're in the path of the bees, and bees like to have a clean house, that they could be carrying those mites out and you don't even know it. So when you do your check, they may just clean the debris out, and the mite could be just the debris. And just the activity of the bees coming and going could be just dragging the mites out. You don't really know what your mite count is. So think about that.
Yeah.
I don't know how true that is, but I doubt that's my suspect with not of the problem. I see no problem doing that for your treating, so you're keeping the gas in there. But as far as a mite check, I would be suspicious of your numbers.
How long do you wait after the treatment before you check the sticky board?
3 days.
3 days.
I mean, I'll check sooner.
2 days.
You know, but 2 days. I mean, there's no, you know, you're going to see what you're going to see in probably the first, 24, 48 hours. But after 3 days, it seems like 3 days is when you don't see much more drop. So.
And it's like everything else. As long as you do it every 2 days, you can see the changes. You can't do 2 days, 3 days, 4 days.
Yeah. Whatever you do, be consistent with it.
I don't know if you've ever seen this happen. My hives are underneath a cover like this, so they don't get direct sun on them.
Yep.
But I got one hive that's out in the open, and I was worried about that hot sun when we had the hot days. So, okay, they're facing east. Most of the sun is on the south side hitting that hive. So I laid a board kind of at an angle like that so it would deflect some of that sun. But then when I went in the hive, I noticed that the queen only laid on the other side of each frame. She wouldn't lay on the side that the board was laying up against.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen that or
You
heard?
study your bees way more than I do. Yeah, that's on the level of Jason. Jason and Gordon, they know exactly what's going on in there.
So I should have just left the board off and let them do their thing, and she would have laid on both sides like normal, maybe. But I thought I was helping.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just weird. I would have thought that she would have been laying on one side of the hive more than the other, not just on one side of a frame. I don't think that would be. Can't see how that would have. How laying a board over here would affect how she's laying on each side of a frame.
I didn't either.
But
All the frames had brood on the other
I know
side.
mine, like, the warmer side is where mine are.
Yeah, I usually see that. You know, if I'm going along, you know, like I was moving 5-frame nuke boxes into bigger hives, and I noticed that on the sunny side, that's where all the brood was at.
Yeah.
You know. Okay. All right, let's get stung. Okay. So, Deborah. So somebody team up with Deborah and John and myself. And so what we want to do is we want to go after the, let's go after the small hives first, and let's just kind of open, you know, basically what we'll do is we'll look at a small hive and say that's your resource hive, and see what's in there, and say that's a great queen or so-so queen or whatever, and then we'll start picking the big hives. And like for instance, let's just use this as an example. We may take that double, see that 2 medium hive? That is weak. I mean, I'll tell you that right now.
On the end.
On the end.
Yeah.
So we'll kind of look through there and see what's going on. And we may say, well, we're going to take these boxes and put it on top of it. Or we're going to find the queen out of there and give that resources to another hive. So the idea is that we want every hive that we have left here, we want it to be a hive that looks good, but for some reason it's queenless. We have extra queens, and we'll go from there. So we'll cage queens. We may do different things, and then, you know, later on we might have someone says, hey, I need a queen. They find out their hive is queenless, then we can move that queen over, or sell her, or whatever we need to do. So. Okay, so let me unlock the shed and grab my jacket and see what we can do.
slide if you would, and put that stuff back in.
All the overwintered, the ones that were done.
Whole patty.
Whole patty.
Okay.
The whole patty. All right. There we go.
Maybe. Then you can come back and you can grab resources, or maybe you need to go to that one, but make sure you leave this, if you go away from the hive, make sure you leave it up as red or flat. So flat is good, ready to go. And I'm going to assume, yep. So what I like to do is my hive lift method is I try to talk and I try to lift at the same time. My voice does not change. Okay, if I come up to this and I'm go, then I know it's heavy. If I make, so that's too light. That's way too light. There we go. Oh, there's a good one. That's a good. So people, if you guys want, if you want to feel this, that is good weight.
And yes, that's a red one.
And for whatever reason, that's a red one. So.
All right. So we just start on that side.
So even holding this, it's pretty light.
Yep.
Oh, there was a queen. Look at that. No, that's a queen cell.
Yes. Yeah, here's the other.
So, so it looks like it emerged. It was a pretty darn big queen cell.
What is the white?
This right there, that one.
Yeah, what is the white one underneath that?
Larva.
That one, yeah, it could have been a queen cell that broke open right there.
And then it looks like there was another queen cell below the white.
That one.
Just a cut.
So that one, I don't know if this one isn't closed yet, or, so I have a flashlight. If someone wants to look in there and see if there is, so there would be like a little flap if it, if there's something, if she emerged.
No, there's, it just isn't capped yet. There's something in there.
So there's something in there. Okay.
It looks like the queen.
So maybe they're trying to supersede the queen, right? Yeah, so that's pretty cool. Almost. So, but we don't want to. We want to see if we can find the queen. We don't want to have it. I don't think we don't want any more queens.
Not at this stage.
Because they've made queen cells, she is preparing to swarm, which is a late swarm. So she might be skinnier, and she might be running faster on the combs.
They swarm this late though?
They can. I mean, a swarm in, there's like a saying, a swarm in May,
Worth a bale of hay.
bale of hay, swarm in, well, something swarm in July, let it fly. It's really the one that, so like this time of year, yeah, you just don't. Swarm in June, something, but swarm in July, so it's August, so yeah, you don't want to.
Oh, honey.
So does anyone else want to look? Take the frame or no?
They're starving to death.
Yeah, this is
Well, we're going to feed. And that one was a little heavier.
Do you want it back in?
Yeah, you can put up against there. So we're looking for the queen. And to note if there's like resources, like there isn't.
These are small bees too.
A lot of resources in this hive to give away.
Yeah, this is not a good hive.
So this frame has a little bit of
So
pollen.
far, we found a couple of brood frames, and not a lot of food though.
What makes this like
They just haven't drawn it out yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We'll see. And we'll be. I mean, normally we'd be super careful with the frame with the queen cell, right? So there is some drone cells. But, I don't see the queen. Did anybody else see the queen?
So is this
Pollen.
is that just pollen?
Yep, different color pollen is really good. Kind of like us
A
that
bunch of drone cells.
want
in
to
there.
eat the color of the rainbow every day. Good for you. Means you're getting all your phytonutrients. Okay, so
So let's say this was a week. Yeah.
I would say there's really only maybe 3 frames of food to give.
These 3 on this end.
Uh-huh.
You're gonna
And this one.
top of another.
So
Each sheet of paper in the middle.
3 and 4 of the.
Well, you can, or you can let them figure it out. Yeah,
But
if
again,
you
we're
like
not
one
gonna
better than
keep it
the other,
anyways.
Is that very heavy?
Nope.
Yeah.
Much honey in there.
So let's.
I suppose. Yeah. I mean, if you know which
If there is a queen.
you'll prefer, you obviously want to kill the other.
I'm thinking this side is actually in pretty good shape.
Yep. Yep. Let's look at the next one.
This one has a little bit more resources, so there's some more honey and
Oh, we
capped
tilted
honey
up.
and
Yeah.
Pollen. And so we're looking for the queen, and then there's a drone
every
there.
hive, though, you shouldn't find any surprises on
Pollen.
the bottom, right? Because you've looked at each frame individually.
So far we have maybe 3 frames of pollen, 1 frame of honey.
How's that looking?
This one is looking horrible. There's a queen cell,
You just a little bit.
and it's not capped yet.
Really. Yeah.
No
So we
queen.
haven't found the
Queen cell, no cap?
and we haven't found any eggs.
No, not something like what you're doing. You just got the
So there was a queen in here apparently on the 27th.
Yeah.
So we have resources.
Yeah, so this one.
Well, but we have drawn comb.
Yeah, we have lots of drawn combs. So.
We have drawn comb and we have bees. So
Yep. So,
so while you look at this one, that's a. Also look at the size of the boxes. So this is an 8 frame. So to make our lives easier, we try to go from an 8 frame to an 8 frame.
okay.
You know.
And these are all shallow.
Yep. And just remember, it doesn't matter. It's just about space.
Yep, so this the bottom box hardly has anything. This top box has some, a
bit.
little bit.
Let's go into the bottom one. See what they got down there.
So you're seeing that this needs a lot of food.
Yeah. Oh, there's a little bit more. I don't see eggs.
Good. And then,
Yep. There she is.
Yep.
Okay, so
So is she sick then?
Well, you know, so we got to think about this. So we're in a dearth. So what is she going to do? She's going to just slow down laying. Good news is she's a white queen, which means, you know, she's this year's queen. So we're going to give her the benefit of the doubt.
what? No, but you had the queen.
Where she hatched out of,
So we know she
it looks really nice, but
So now you want to scrape them.
plastic cup.
New queen cell.
Yeah, I would probably get rid of that queen cell.
and then this one has a queen cell too.
Oh, that does as well.
Yeah.
But since she's right here, I was wanting to double check for. She's got brood. Not much.
Pollen, and some larvae, a little bit of brood.
We mushed it anyways, but it was
mushed
really nice.
Yeah.
But it's a little too late, right? You wouldn't let a
Yeah,
queen
because that
go
looks.
now.
Yeah, that looks. Yeah, we don't want that to go at all.
So we like this one. That frame's got it all.
It's hard to tell in this light.
What are you looking for?
Eggs. But I am seeing some larvae. But if you put sugar water on her, she might just turn on. You know. But say, for instance, you know, so if it was me doing these inspections, I know what I've got here. Now I'm going to go to my next hive, my next worst hive, which is probably going to be that guy. And let's take a look there. We may be bringing that box and putting it on here, feeding her and all that. You know?
Yeah.
So
let me see.
you kind of
Oh,
judge.
I didn't look at the box to see what it said.
Reduced, clean right. Well, this is back in July. 1 mite, which is good. It's got a low mite count. So let's just take a look and see what you got. While you're doing that, I'm going to go back down to this one over here. It's another. This one I know is weak. It used to be weak anyway.
Well, I'm noticing there's that. Okay, so this is
Couple don't bother me. It's when you get a lot of them. That's when.
so it's got a little bit of pollen. So there's eggs. I mean, there's larvae. Oh, there's eggs. Where do you see that? Okay. So, right. We know she's here. So there's eggs right in here.
This hive.
And so,
How can you see that?
just check it out. Go in there. You can see. See the little dots in there?
Oh,
The line. You see it?
Tiny pieces of
Right
rice.
there, up there. Yeah, so we know she's been on this frame recently. Hang on a second. These guys. Yeah. So it's pretty obvious, right? You go, oh, I see eggs. Right. Okay. So if I was doing a normal inspection, over, done. I mean, I've seen the. I don't have to see the queen to know that she's here. She's laying. She's been there in the last 3 days, but we're looking for her. So
Is she marked?
typically we try and mark them all, but she may not be. Okay, so I'm going to put this one back in here. So much propolis. So lots of nice pattern, right? Like look at, she's laying nicely. She's filling in right where she left off.
How does that queen look?
To me looks good.
Looks good.
But we haven't seen her yet.
Okay.
Now, when you say 3 seams?
3 seams. So we count seams of bees.
Okay.
Yeah. So I just wanted to kind of show you guys. This hive has been, we've struggled with it all year, and you come into this hive. There is no way in hell that we're going to get this through.
Oh no.
So I've already found the queen. I got her in my pocket. She's a last year's queen. So we also prefer to go into the winter with young queens. So Deborah just opened up a box there.
Really nice.
It's got very nice.
She's laying in where
everything, So what I would do, since we only have a few bees, we're just gonna do, well, when you're ready.
Yeah, we can just close it up and
So why don't you put a patty on, and then we'll just put a patty right between the two.
okay.
We need a queen.
Right.
We want a good fresh queen.
Right.
We'll go to one of our queen castles and we'll grab a queen, and then I'll reintroduce that in there. And I'll keep her as long as possible, you know,
in case you need her.
just in case I need her. But I will tell you, this hive has struggled all season. Since that box there is only a single deep.
I got you.
Okay, so it really needs to have a double deep. So
Right.
I'm just going to move this
Are
entire
you
box
gonna do
over.
newspaper?
Well drawn out.
There's not enough bees to do newspaper.
Oh.
This is nothing. I've already taken the queen out.
You got the
Yeah.
queen out.
They're not going to turn against the other one.
Yeah, there's probably not enough bees here to do anything.
Ah.
You know, yeah, this is, I wouldn't worry about it.
Okay.
So she's going to put a patty on that, you know, and then this is going to get a bucket of sugar water. I mean, we're going to try to drown this guy now because they have to fill up all these frames.
Before winter.
You ready? And I always like to look at these even for mite drop, just natural mite drop, but I don't take much account. But I don't see any mites on it. But there's one right there, I think.
So the one that you're adding this to is a good box.
Yeah, she opened it up and there's just wall-to-wall brood in there. Yeah, that's all you really need to do.
Okay.
Don't need the newspaper.
Not for this few of these. If this was a, you know, I'm taking a
Calculated risk.
a calculated risk, but this few of these, hang on.
You could spray them with sugar water
Yeah.
too, and then they'd lick and be friends.
Yeah.
Oh.
So now
Yeah.
what we do is we take this.
That's another way, especially with the.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to get another box and we'll put it on top, and then we're going to put sugar water on it. Because they have a lot, they've got a lot
of stuff to do. Yeah.
Yep.
Let's see.
Little crunch.
Sorry. Oh, sorry. It's like, get out of the way.
I know.
Okay, so I'll put sugar water on top of that. Okay, so let's.
Can I ask another pollen patty question? So yeah. I've only got 2 hives. They seem to be doing well. I'm not going to be recombining anything. Is the pollen patty going on now just because you've been combining them, or is it just the time of year that you're just going to do?
So,
25.
even though this isn't ready for winter, it's configured for winter. But you know, I know it's got a sugar box, so I'm going to put the brick flat. So we're done with this hive for today.
Until next month.
Well,
or
no, until next week. Actually, I may come back down like Wednesday,
okay.
and I'm going to fill all these buckets again.
Okay, you're going to feed them.
We need to.
So they can feed the babies.
I did the 2-to-1 on mine, and they drained it in 2 days.